The Lee Jae-myung government's third housing policy, the strictest regulation ever. Will this finally stabilize Seoul's housing prices? Let's analyze it at the desk. We'll consult Kim Kyung-ki, head of economic news and real estate expert. Mr. Kim, a third real estate measure in just 4 months and another in only 1 month. How serious is the situation that it's being rushed like this?
Did you catch the article by reporter Lee Seoul earlier? Do you happen to know how much the apartment prices in Seoul's Seongdong district had actually risen as of September 29th, right before the Chuseok holiday?
0.78%?
You're almost exactly right. It's 0.78%, but that might not seem like much. The story changes if prices keep rising at this pace every week. Given the weekly compounding increases, it's alarming to think housing prices could nearly double in just 1 year. This means a house that costs 1.5 billion won could be worth 3 billion won in a year. Reflecting on June, it was an even more troubling reality. Seongdong and Mapogu saw a 1% jump in housing prices in just a week.
At the current rapid upward pace, housing prices could potentially end up rising even further and doubling in just a single year. You think the new policy will stabilize prices?
It seems likely from a popularity standpoint. The recent surge in housing prices was mainly due to demand for apartments with existing leases, which is now completely blocked. Loan availability has also decreased. Above all, housing prices have already risen significantly. Moreover, housing prices have already risen significantly, causing market fatigue from these rapid changes. However, despite all this, a considerable amount of money has already entered the market, and unfortunately, housing supply cannot realistically expand much in the short term. So the critical question is how long this state of stabilization can last in an unpredictable market.
You have mentioned that while it might be manageable in the short term, the long-term outlook is uncertain. This is the policy. Now, something I'm curious about is the regional aspect. I understand the Seoul-Han River Belt and Gangnam, Gwacheon, but why have areas like Nodogang and Uiwang in Gyeonggi, often referred to together, been included?
The idea is to curb the balloon effect. Currently, the areas with the highest price increases are Seongdong, Mapo, and Gwangjin, known collectively as Seongmagwang. Dongdaemun and areas like Gwacheon and Bundang in Gyeonggi are also seeing significant rises. By restricting these areas, the policy aims to prevent demand from shifting to nearby regions, thus avoiding the balloon effect. But in Nowon and Dobong, the house price increase this year is just 1.15% for Nowon and only 0.41% for Dobong. They barely went up. Considering local residents' ongoing frustrations, complaints about perceived injustices are likely to rise significantly in the coming weeks and months.
So it honestly feels unfair that restrictions are being imposed before this balloon effect even hits our neighborhoods.
I think there will be complaints about that.
So, a plan has been proposed. But as you mentioned earlier, there's still room for growth. If prices continue to rise after this plan, do we have more options?
Yes, there's something we haven't used yet: taxation. The government hasn't specifically utilized tax measures yet. Of the strategies available, crucial steps likely include raising property and real estate taxes as essential measures. Today, during a significant statement relevant to our housing policies, Kim Yong-boom, Chief Policy Officer of the Presidential Office, hinted at this development. We need to seriously consider the tax system, acknowledging that property taxes are indeed low, and thoroughly review acquisition, holding, and transfer taxes.
In light of current market trends, it is crucial to know that new restrictions may be imposed on high-priced homes or elite neighborhoods, so those aiming for these upgrades should proceed with caution.
Right. No matter how expensive your house is, nobody likes property taxes. It's like the last card you have to play. Is it an extra card? An additional option to consider rather than being the final measure. So, if we were to consider using taxes as a final measure of last resort, do you think it might actually work? Just hypothetically speaking, what if it turns out to be ineffective?
In my opinion, it's not easy. It's still not easy. I think that's the right way to put it. After all, taxes are policies designed to suppress demand. In that sense, the key policy this time also involves loans. Loans are likewise a measure aimed at curbing demand. Both loans and taxes suppress demand. However, the real issue is supply. Only when supply and demand align can housing prices stabilize. The government needs to clearly state when and how much they plan to supply to the areas these buyers are interested in. Only then can we address any dissatisfaction regarding home ownership. The more regulations there are, the more people tend to move towards Seoul and the surrounding metropolitan area. Loosening regulations in rural areas could help break this cycle.
That's right. For individuals and families striving to secure their own homes amidst the current housing crisis, it would be invaluable for them to understand the best times and areas for investing in a house. We'll hear more from Kim Kyung-ki next time. Thank you.